Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a fan favorite weapon that has returned to us this season, because the one and only pulse rifle, the Bygones, is finally back. And I'm actually kind of surprised that it took this long to actually get the Bygones back in the game. So today we're going to be taking a look at this weapon, what makes it special, what are some of the best perks that can roll in this weapon, and the ones that you should be going for if you're going for a god roll this weapon. And also afterwards we're going to have a mini review where I just gotta tell you what I like or dislike about the weapon. But before we get into any of that, we gotta talk about how to actually get this weapon. And I'm sure most of you guys already know, but this weapon is gonna come from Gambit. I recommend that you either play some Gambit matches so you can get some Gambit engrams, or if you're watching this as soon as the video came out, Sir is actually selling some Gambit engrams, so you can actually buy the Gambit engrams from Sir, and then go to the Drifter and focus the Bygones. It actually only costs 1 engram to focus the Bygones, so you can actually get yourself 3 with the engrams from Sir, without ever even having to step into Gambit. Now the Bygones is a 390 RPM scout rifle, and it comes with the origin trait Gun and Run. Rapidly defeating targets with this weapon will grant you some bonus sprint speed. So whenever you get a couple kills, you'll just move faster with this weapon, so definitely not like the best origin trait. Now the Bygones, like any other playlist weapons, has a ridiculous amount of trait perks for both slots, so this might take a while, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it, and first let's start by taking a look at the first perk. So these are actually all the perks that we're going to have here for the perk 1, so we're just going to quickly go through all of them, tell you if I like it for PvP, for PvE, because this weapon can actually do a little bit of both. It actually has good perks for both. But let's start from the top, and the first one is going to be Lone Wolf. This is going to give you improved movement speed, aimed on sight speed, and reward effectiveness, and it increases whenever you're alone. This could actually be pretty good for something like competitive with trials, but in normal Crucible, I don't really see it being that great. After that, we're going to have Outlaw. This can be okay if you pair it up with some of the perks in the other slot that require reloads, but on its own, it's not really a strong perk as it used to be, so I wouldn't really recommend it. After that, we're going to have Under Pressure, which is going to increase our stability and accuracy as our magazine gets lower. This is just okay, not great, but also not terrible, just okay for the Crucible. After that, we have Shoot to Loot. Now Shoot to Loot, while it's niche, it does have its place in PvE, so if you like Shoot to Loot, you'll probably like it. If you don't like Shoot to Loot, then you probably won't like it on this weapon. Keep away its nets, and this gives you increased range, accuracy, and reload whenever there's no enemies nearby. This is like the perfect perk for pulse rifles. It plays so well with them, since you're always going to be farther away from the enemies, so you're always going to have that extra range, and also that extra accuracy. So this one's going to be a top tier option for the Crucible. After that, we're going to have To the Pain. This is going to give you increased aim assist and also handling whenever you take some damage. This one could actually be pretty good in PvP, but just not on this weapon. I feel like this one benefits more weapons that are really sluggish, that have really low handling, but this weapon actually has some pretty okay handling, so you're not going to see as much benefit from To the Pain, so I would just say to go with a different perk for this weapon. After that, we have Send Moment. Whenever we do some damage with this weapon, it's going to reduce our recoil, and this is going to give us some flinch resistance. Send Moment is essentially the perk you want. If you want to make this weapon more stable, this is going to be the best one. And it also gives you that damage resistance, which is going to be amazing in the Crucible. So this is the one that you want to go for that. After that, we're going to have Rangefinder. Rangefinder is not what it used to be. It's definitely not as good. If you're looking into Rangefinder, I would just say to go with Keep Away. It's just going to be better. After that, we're going to have Subsistence. Whenever you get a kill, it kind of reloads a bit of your magazine. This one, I could see it being kind of okay for PvE. That's mainly where you're really going to take advantage of Subsistence, but it's definitely not going to be like the best perk for it. Perpetual Motion is up next, and this one I think is going to be pretty okay in PvP. Definitely not the best, but definitely not the worst. Whenever you're moving, you essentially gain stability, handling, and reload speed. All pretty good stats on this weapon that are just going to make it feel better. I just don't think it's going to be as good as some of the top options. After that, we're going to have Attrition Orbs, which is going to let this weapon create some extra orbs power for use dealing damage. This can actually be pretty good in PvE, giving you a couple of extra orbs, and if you're on a build that requires some orbs, then this could definitely be something you could run. And the last perk that we have in this column is going to be Demolitionist. Now Demolitionist is going to give you some grenade energy every time that you get a kill, and whenever you use your grenade, it will also reload your weapon. This can be a really good perk for both Crucible and PvE, but definitely a lot more in PvE. If you're like on a grenade build, then this is definitely something you want to take a look at. Now for this very first column, I would say for Crucible, you either want to go Keep Away or Send Moment. I think that those two perks are probably going to be the best ones. If you want to get the most range and accuracy, you go Keep Away. And if you want more stability, you go Send Moment. And for PvE, I would recommend that you go with Demolitionist for some grenade energy, or Subsistence if you want to use not reload as often. And then you also have Shoot to Loot. That is something that you could go with if you like it. Now starting off the second column, we have one of the new perks, Closing Time. Improve range, accuracy, and handling as the magazine gets lower. Now this one by itself is going to be pretty okay, not the best, not the worst. Now if you pair it up with Under Pressure in the other slot, then you're going to have a super accurate, super stable weapon that has more range, but you only have like half of your magazine, since you do have to like empty out half of the mag before this perks both of them, even proc. So it is going to be very strong towards the end of the magazine, but you know, half the magazine is going to be like you don't really have any perks. It is definitely something different, and some of you guys might be into it, some of you guys may not. Next up we have Kill Clip. Kill Clip is going to be pretty good on this weapon. It will reduce your TTK, and you'll also be able to 2-burst people with it. So Kill Clip is actually a pretty good option. All of the damage perks are actually pretty solid options in this weapon, since they're all going to let you like 2-burst people. Next up we're going to have Head Seeker. This will make the weapon just feel a little bit more consistent. This is your consistency perk. If you want just a really good feeling weapon all the time, Head Seeker is what you want to go for. After that we're going to have Kinetic Tremors, and Kinetic Tremors are going to be really good in PvE. It just adds a little bit more damage to this weapon. They're very easy to proc, and they also can help you out with champions as well. So Kinetic Tremors are a top tier PvE perk, and probably what you're going to end up going for with this weapon. After that we're going to have Desperate Measures. Whenever we get a kill with an ability or a weapon, we're going to get some increased damage. And with the increased damage, it's not as high as Kill Clip. You will still be able to 2-verse people with this, as long as you hit all headshots. After that we're going to have Vorpal Weapon. This is going to give you a bit of extra damage in PvE against some of the bigger enemies. And it's okay, but I wouldn't really recommend it. After that we're going to have Desperado. Now Desperado will increase your rate of fire after getting a precision final blow. And it does reduce your TTK, but it doesn't reduce it as much as it does with some of the damage perks, actually. So this is one of the times where I actually wouldn't recommend Desperado, not only because it's a harder perk to proc, since you actually need a headshot, but also because it will not kill as fast as something like Kill Clip or Desperate Measures. After that we're going to have Eye of the Storm. This is going to be pretty good for PvE. As your health gets lower, you get more accuracy and more handling, and overall just kind of makes the weapon feel a little bit better. So this one's not bad at all. I would say if you want to go Eye of the Storm, you should also go to the Pain. They both are going to benefit from you taking damage, so it's probably what you want to go for. After that we're going to have High Ground, and I would just say just don't bother with High Ground. If you want the damage perk, just go with one of the other ones. High Ground is just not worth it. Next up is going to be Firefly. Whenever you get a precision kill, it's going to do a Solar Explosion. This can give you a little bit of extra accuracy to the weapon, so it's pretty decent in PvE. Next we have Osmosis, which is a perk that I haven't seen in a while, but this one's definitely pretty niche. Whenever you throw a grenade, it essentially changes the element on this weapon to match the grenade. So if you throw out an arc grenade, it will make this weapon arc. So I can definitely see some more niche cases for this, but most of you guys are probably not really gonna be doing much with Osmosis. I say that it's just better to go with some other perks. And the last perk that we're gonna have on this column is gonna be Frenzy. Being in combat for an extended period of time will increase our damage, handling, and reload speed on this weapon. This one's gonna be pretty amazing in PvE. It does take a little bit to get going and to activate the perk, but once you activate it, you're pretty much not gonna run out of this perk till everything's dead. Like either you die or the enemies all die. That's the only time that this perk is actually gonna be activated. So it's gonna be really good. You're essentially always just gonna be walking around with more reload speed, handling, and some of that extra damage. Now for the Crucible in this slot, you want to go with Head Seeker for more consistency, or you want to lower your DTK, you want to go with either Kill Clip or Desperate Measures. Now for PvE, I would say that there's 3 really good perks, Kinetic Tremors, Firefly, or Frenzy. Those are gonna be like the best 3 perks that you can get on this weapon, and you can't go wrong with any of them in like PvE. Towards more endgame content, I would definitely recommend a lot more Kinetic Tremors though, since you don't really need a kill or anything to activate this one. All you gotta do is just do some damage. So now let's talk about some god rolls, and first let's start off with the Crucible, and I'm sure some of you guys already see this one coming, but it's gonna be Keep Away plus Head Seeker, or Send Moment plus Head Seeker. Those are going to be really good. You could also combine either Keep Away or Head Seeker with any of the damage perks like Desperate Measures or Kill Clip, and it's still going to be pretty good. So as long as you mix and match some of those perks, this weapon is going to be pretty good. Now for PvE, I definitely think the best role is going to be Demolitionist plus Kinetic Tremors. This is going to be a role that you can pretty much use in anything and it's going to be pretty good. Or you could also go with Demolitionist plus Firefly or Frenzy, and it is still going to be pretty good. As long as you have Demolitionist, it's going to increase the uptime on your grenades, and overall just going to make the weapon feel a lot better in PvE. So those are going to be the god rolls that I recommend that you guys go for. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions, just make sure you leave them in the comments below, especially if you think I didn't do justice to a certain perk that I should have mentioned some more. So I'm very happy to see the Bygones back, and I'm happy that it's got also a lot of really good perks and different perk combinations you could try. Not only the good ones, but also some of the weirder ones, like closing time and under pressure, just things like that. I really like that it's got so many different perk selections that can be pretty good. I most of the time spend time with it in PvP, and it feels really great there still. The sight and the weapon still feels amazing. So I think this weapon is going to be a pretty solid choice for Crucible and PvE, as well as just being an amazing sounding and looking weapon. I think that's one of the main draws towards the Bygones, or one of my main draws towards the Bygones. I just really love the look of this weapon, the sound of the weapon, and also the sight of the weapon. That is also really good. But with that, we're going to wrap up today's video. Let me know what you guys think about this weapon. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Are you going to be going for a god roll on this weapon? Let me know that in the comments below. Thank you all for stopping by today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.